Okay. So what we want to do is just to introduce you to some concepts around the economics. To be specific, we want to talk about macroeconomics. Okay. Yeah. So just as said last time, in microeconomics, we said the microeconomics, looks at how the individual units such as the firms, right?
Yes.
The households and individuals make make their decisions, especially regarding to how to answer the questions, how to produce, what to produce, when to produce, whom, right?
Yes.
So that's microeconomics. But with macroeconomics, we are concerned, we are looking at ag. So when you look at more economy for the entire country, how do they get to decide and how do they make decisions? Clear? If that is clear, then we can look at the key macroeconomic concerns. Macroeconomic concerns. Macroeconomic concerns. So with the macroeconomic concerns, these are just the key issues that macroeconomics, like the entire course, tries to address. Okay, so macroeconomics addresses issues of growth, economic, then it also addresses the issues of inflation, right? It does address the issues of unemployment, and it addresses the issues around the balance of payments. Okay, are together?
Yes, please.
Okay, so these are the key things that we look at when we are studying macroeconomics as a whole. It could be either principles of macroeconomics, intermediate macroeconomics, or advanced macroeconomics, but these are just the key things that we are concerned about, especially when you're studying macroeconomics. Okay, so so with economic growth, we are just interested, in examining the general performance of the economy, especially of the entire country or the general economy, the aggregate economy. So you're asking yourself, like, how much output in terms of production, in terms of expenditure, in terms of income, in terms of the value that has been added at each stage of production. So you ask yourself those questions when you're looking at economic growth. Okay? So that's about economic growth. Then with the inflation, I'm just introducing the course, by the way. Inflation, with inflation, we're looking at the aggregate price level. Okay. Inflation looks at the aggregate price level. Okay. So we look at the price, the price level of all the goods, not just only one good. Like you go maybe in a shopping mall today, you find that the price of a certain good has increased, then you say that is inflation. No, when we talk about inflation, we're looking at, on average, how have the prices, all the prices of all the goods as a whole have increased. Okay, so this one is a consistent increase in the general price level. That is inflation. When the prices are keeping on increasing and increasing, that is the inflation. Then inflation rate is actually the rate at which those prices are increasing. Okay?
Yes, please.
Yes. Then obviously with unemployment, Yeah, we are just asking ourselves the questions around who is employed. Okay, what does it mean to be employed? What does it mean to be unemployed? Okay, what does it mean to be unemployed? What does it mean to be employed? Okay, who is who is in the labor force? Who is in the labor force and who is not counted to be in the labor force? Okay, we look at things like labor force participation rate. Let me just PR, labor force participation rate. So when you're looking at who is employed, there are just some key things that you look at. Okay, a person who is in, let's start from who is unemployed first. The person who is unemployed, a person who is 16, right? Some literature define the person who is say any person who is below 15. Other literature says 16. Okay, so any person who is below the age of 15 is not counted in the labor force. Okay, is not in the labor force. So since they are not in the labor force, they cannot be regarded as unemployed. You're following, right?
Yes, I am.
Then any person who is those senior citizens above 65 years old, those people again are not counted in the labor force. So since they are not counted in the labor force, they are not part of employment or unemployment. We're not concerned about them. So when looking at unemployment, we're just concentrating on the people who are in the age of 15 up to 65 in this range. Then again, students are not part of the labor force. So we cannot say they are unemployed. So when they say the unemployment rate is this or the unemployment level is this, those are some of the things they look at. Okay, students are not included. Some people who are below the age of 15 are not included. Those who are above 65 are not included. Prisoners are not included. Okay, there are a lot of people that you try to remove.
I
Then yeah, the small fraction that remains is what you concentrate on examining. Are they employed or unemployed? You're following, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah. Then again, we also look at things like so, 15 to 65. Are they actively seeking employment? Okay. Are they actively seeking employment? Are they looking for employment? Because if they are not looking for employment, then they are not part. They are not part of the labor force, and we can't say they are unemployed. And again, are these people that we have, are they not discouraged workers? Because we also have the class of those guys we call the discouraged workers. Usually, the discouraged workers, they don't. Those are people who have just given up. Okay, they have just given up looking for employment. They were looking for employment, but because they cannot find, they decided to actually give up. Okay. Hello. Hello.
I'm here. It's just
Oh,
that my
okay.
background is quite noisy, so I muted myself.
Oh, okay. But you can hear me clear.
Yes, I can get you clearly.
Oh, okay. So that's what is there. Then the other things that we just try to consider now is that, okay, these people now, we have seen the people that are not counted in the labor force, and at least we can have a clear understanding of whom to count as unemployed. So those are some of the things that we'll talk about in detail when we look at unemployment. This is not unemployment, not teaching unemployment today. Then we'll also look at the balance of payment. Yeah, the balance of payment, which is the last concern. Yeah, so here you're just looking at the entire country trying to trade with other countries. Okay, now we understand that as a country you cannot just be trading alone. You'll have to engage other people. You have to trade with others. So when you start asking ourselves the questions such as how much have we imported, how much have we exported, okay, how much have we given to the other world, to the other countries as transfers, just some free funds or grants to help others, or how much have we received as grants or some transfers from other countries for help. So some of the issues that you deal with when you're talking about the balance of payment. Then that's the general macroeconomics as a whole. Any question?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So at least you have seen the overview of macroeconomics. Then we can now zero in and look at economic growth. Let's start by let's start from economic growth. So with economic growth, we have got some key indicators. Yeah, some key indicators. I want us first to look at the theory part, then we'll zero in and do some questions. From the economic growth, we have got some key indicators that help us to look to detect whether the economy is or is not it's not growing. Okay, some of the key ones that you use are the gross domestic product, which you call the GDP, gross domestic product. Then from the gross domestic product, you have the net national product, gross national product, sorry, the gross national product, gross national product, GNP, yeah, and plus other few indicators that we examine. So we'll look at them. So for example, we start with gross domestic product, GDP. So we are looking at it from the point of production. So say how much production has been produced by the country, especially within 1 year. How much have we produced as a nation? The value. So it is the value of the final goods that has been produced by the country within a year, especially by the residents of the country. Okay?
Could you please come again?
We are saying that the GDP is actually the final product that has just been produced, okay, by within the country boundaries, that total production of the final goods. So that is regardless of the people who have produced that, okay, because when you're looking at production, you can have the people who are like the citizens are producing, okay, using the factor inputs that are owned by the citizens, or you can also have the other people from other countries, okay, investing within the country, and they own those factors of production. They're also producing. You're following, right?
Yes, I am.
So you have to understand that when you're looking at GDP, we're just interested in what has been produced within our country, regardless of who is owning the factor of production. Okay, it can either be produced by the factors of production owned by our own people or by outsiders. We're just interested, is it within the nation? It can be produced by companies who are owned by Chinese, who are owned by us Zambians, but as long as it is within our country boundary. Okay, that's GDP. Then when you look at gross national product, GNP, we are looking at the total final goods, the total value of the final goods that have been produced. Now, not just within the country boundary, okay, by our own people within and outside the nation. So with NNP or sorry, GNP, gross national product, we are concentrating on what you yourselves as the citizens have produced within the country and outside the country. So we're looking at the factors of production that you own within the country and those that you own even abroad. So you can have Zambians who own companies in other countries, okay? And they are producing, they're making money even from in those other countries. So that money they make from there, we are counting it under the gross national product. Did you get that?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So that's about the GNP. So when you're looking at now, when you're trying to measure the growth rate of the entire economy, so all the techniques that we use when you're measuring the growth, the entire growth of the entire nation or the entire economy is what is known as the national income accounting. Okay? It is what is called the national income accounting, right?
National income accounting.
National income accounting. Yes.
Okay.
So when you're looking at national income accounting, you're looking at the techniques that you use to look at to measure whether the economy of the country is growing, how much income do you have as a nation? Okay. Yeah. So now, when you're looking at national income accounting, we have to look at the key participants that we have in the economy. And that brings us to what is known as the circular flow of income. Okay. So with the circular flow of income, we have the key participants that we have in the economy. To start with, we have got the households. We're not looking at individuals this time around. We're looking at the household. We have got the firms, right?
Yes, please.
We have got the external sector or the external world, the other world, and the government. You have the government. So these are the key four participants that you have in the economy. You have the firms, you have the external sector, you have the government, and you have the households. So we start with the simplified version. We are looking at production, by the way, and how income is flowing. This is the flow of income, the circular flow of income, circular flow of income. So the circular flow of income is summarized in this diagram. Let's start with the two economy, the two participants. We can have the households. Yeah, this is the household. We can also have the firms. Let's start with the simplified version. This is a simplified version. We just have two participants now. This is a closed economy, and it doesn't have the government. Okay, we have the closed economy where we are producing, but the only people participating are the firms and the households, meaning we don't have the government in here and we don't have the external sector, meaning we're not trading with the other worlds or other countries. Is that clear? So look at how income flows. From the household to the firms, what do you take as the households? You find that the households will take what? Will take factors of production, to be specific, sometimes labor, right? you from the households will have okay, we have the factors of production. Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Hi, sorry, I muted myself again. I can't get you.
Oh, okay. So we're looking at the factors of production. So from the households, check the arrow. From the households to the firms, we take factors of production, right? Those inputs that we use in production, such as labor, we take labor, we go to the firms to work. So we are taking labor. So because we have taken the factors of production, What do we get from the firms? From the firms as the households, we get salaries, right?
Yes.
Yes, you get salaries, you get dividends, right? Yes, you get income for whatever you do. You supply to the firms any factor inputs, then they give us the finished goods. Are you following how the income is flowing? So you give something so that you get something. The households receive, they receive salaries, they receive dividends, they receive they receive money from the firms. Then the households in return should give something as well. Okay. This is the simplified version, very simplified. But what if we try to be realistic a bit and involve the government? Because you can't have the economy that doesn't have the government. Let's have the households and we have the firm. Then let's include the government here, the big brother. It's usually called the big brother because you have to respect the big brother all the time. As a big say. Okay, yes. So now let's look at this again. So we already said that from households to the firms, what goes? The factors in production, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
inputs. Then in return, you receive what? You receive income. Let's just say income. These are wages, salaries, what, you know, dividends from the firms. Then at the same time, now, what does the household give to the government? The government.
Taxes.
Yes, you give taxes. After taxes, you also give factors of production to the government, such as labor mostly. You give labor, right? You supply to the government factors of production, labor. Then the government will, will do what? Will give you something in return. And what does the government give? What does the government give? The government gives us salaries, right? When we supply labor, from the government again, we get, what do we get? What do we get from the government? Social cash transfers, right? Social cash transfers. And from the government, what else do we get? We also get the subsidies, right? So the government gives us something in return to the households. You are seeing how income is flowing, eh? We are trying to advance the vision. Then from there, we also have we have the firm. The firm is producing. It's giving what? What does the firm give to the government? It's to the government. Okay, so the firm as well give the finished goods,
Also,
right?
apart from, sorry, I didn't get that part. Please come again.
So what does the firm give?
What does the firm to us?
The firm give to the government.
They give them taxes.
Sorry?
Taxes.
Yeah. So the firms also give taxes. Yeah, the firms give taxes. And at the same time, they also give what? Finished goods to the government. Okay. The government purchases the finished goods. So the firm will give to the government the finished goods. They also give what? Taxes. Then at the same time, the government will give money, will buy these finished goods. Mostly from the firms, the government just buys, right? Just buys. Yes, it purchases. So let's have the purchases here. How income is circulating in the economy, right? Mhm. Then from there, we have seen that the household pays taxi, the firms pay taxi, then the government in turn gives the salaries, social cash transfer, and subsidies to the households. Then it also gives the income to the firms for buying, right? Those finished goods.
Yes.
This is an intermediate version of the circular flow of income.
Okay.
So let's try to be realistic. At least we were a little bit realistic when we introduced the government. At least we're almost closer to the reality. There is the government, always we have the government. But let's now be real. Let's have the expense. So we have four sectors, right? Let's have four sectors.
A what?
We have a four sector economy,
A
meaning
four
four
sector
participants.
economy. For
Yes.
participants.
Yes. So we have the firm.
Anyway, yes, we have the firm. Sorry, I'm at work.
We have the government. We also have the external sector. The external sector is also called
the external sector is also called what?
The other world.
Other world.
Yes, the other world. So check now the way how we are moving. What did you say? This government just purchases. It buys or it gives income. Sorry, by purchasing, it gives income. It gives income to the firm. Then the firm gives.
Sorry, you're breaking. I can't get you. I can get you now.
Okay, I was saying the government in return receives the tax and it receives the purchases, right?
Yes.
The household, what does the household give to the firm, to the government? It gives the factors of production and the taxes, right?
Yes.
Then the government
I'm losing you. I can't get you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me?
I can get you now.
Okay, I was saying the government will give to the household the salaries, the wages, the benefits, and the social transfers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then the households in return shall give the factors of production, such as labor. They'll give taxes, okay, to the government.
Yes.
Then let's see now the interaction between the firms and the external world. The firms and the external sector. What is the interaction? So you find that the firms from the external world, they give what? They give income, right? Income is flowing from the firms to the external world, and then the external world gives us what? They give us the, right?
So income is flowing from the firm to the external world?
Yes, we are importing things. The firms import usually.
Oh, through imports, okay.
Yeah, through imports. Then,
and then the external world is giving us
it is giving us the imports. Then us, we give them income. Then even households, they interact with the external world by taking what? What do they take is income. Then the household will receive what? Will receive imports from the external world. right?
Yes, please.
Now, then let's have the interaction between the government and the external world. Okay. The government also sends income to the external world, and then they receive imports. The government actually is the biggest importer, right? It imports.
Yes.
The government receives import. If we want to be realistic, according to David Begg or Ahuja, these guys, they say also the government gives transfers to the other world.
When you say transfers, what do you
mean? The money that the government gives to the other countries to help, like they're not, we are not expecting anything in return. For example, Tanzania has got maybe they have got a drought, they have hunger. We want to help them as a nation. We're not expecting anything in return. That's a transfer. So the government gives transfers to the other world, and also the government receives transfer from the other world. Though we'll have such conversation in detail when you look at the balance of payments. Okay.
Okay.
So this is now the realistic, at least not very, at least real cash flow or circular flow of income in the economy. At least we have all the four participants. Do I have a question?
No, I am good. It is understood.
It's clear?
Yes, please, it is.
Yes. So this is the circular flow of income. This is how income flows. So when you look at the circular flow of income, if you have understood now, we have seen that for us to receive something, we have to give something. Okay. For us to receive something, we have to do it to give something. Yes. So that will lead us to the method of measuring GDP. How do we? So one approach. You have seen that you can use just by measuring income, how much income you have. It in the economy can reflect how whether the economy is growing or not, right? Because for you receive the income and again you give some, so you get something of equal value to your income, right? If these imports, we'll record the imports. Then we want to record like we have bought this, we just record the value of the imports. So if we've given a 50 kwacha, then we'll say we have the import worth 50 kwacha. So you can see that expenditure, and that leads us to what is called the expenditure approach of measuring what? GDP, the expenditure approach. Income approach, approach. Okay. And then the other one is the value added approach. Value added approach. We can understand that in production now, this is from production. From production, when you produce something, let's say you're producing, there is this farmer, right? This farmer makes let's say wheat, not cotton. Let's say wheat. Then he sells this wheat to who? To the miller. And this miller will receive this rice, this the flour at what? At 30 kwacha. You're following, right? Hello?
I'm on a break and I can't get you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, are you able to hear me? Hello, are you able to hear me?
I can get you.
Okay. So I was saying we have the farmer who produces wheat. He sells his wheat to the miller at 10 kwacha, right? Then the miller
Yes.
will add some value. So you sell the flour to the baker at 30 kwacha, right? Then the baker
Yes.
will make bread. And you sell the. Are you able to follow? Eh?
Yes, I can
You
get you.
sell. So now the value added approach is number one, we want to examine what value has been added at each stage of production. So at the first stage, right? Then between the farmer and the miller added some value. The value that the miller added is 30 minus what? Minus 10, which is 20, right? Yes. Then again, between the miller and the baker added value, right? The
Yes.
value that the baker added is 60 minus what? Minus 30, which is what? 30. Okay. So these are the values. This is the value added at each stage of production.
I'll be coming behind you.
So when you're asked what is the GDP, okay, using the value added approach, what you just do is to add 10 plus 20 plus 30. So in short, you are looking at the value that has been added at each stage of production.
Okay.
So the GDP shall be 60 kwacha, right? And if you have observed, this value added will be equal to the final value. The final value, because in the definition I said the GDP is the final value of the goods, right? Or the value of
Yes.
the final goods. Yeah. So you see that the final good here, which is bread, that has been made by the baker is 60. And it is equal to the value that has been added throughout, which is.
Yes, got it.
Just look at how much we income do we receive? Then again, when it comes to expenditure approach, you look at how much do we spend? Okay. How much do we spend? Because it's a reflection of what we receive again. So those are three ways of measuring what? Measuring GDP. Do I have a question? Hello? Hello? Madam Christine, do you have a question? Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
You went off.
I am here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Are you
No,
able
I
to
had
hear
an
me now?
incoming course. I had to wait for it to stop because if I pick up, it will
Oh,
kick me out of class, isn't it?
oh, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm using my phone.
Oh, okay. It's
Mm.
okay. So are we fine now? Good to go?
Yes, we're good to go.
So, yes. So we have so far we have looked at we have looked at the key macroeconomic concerns, and we have looked at the secular flow of income. So
Yes, we have.
that's the entire summary of the income, the economic growth actually. And we looked
Okay.
at the things that we use when you're measuring the economic growth, say the GDP, GNP, and from there, yeah, we just looked at the value added. How do you calculate the value added and see the equivalence of each of them? Okay.
Yes.
So now you can see that that is a summary of actually everything that we're going to talk about. So I never wanted to come to the notes. I just wanted to present them in a very different way like that. So you see that now whatever was being written in these notes is just the same things that I was talking about.
Yeah. Since I'm
It's a summarized version of what we were talking about. Okay. What is making sense here? Yeah, so he was saying the most important macroeconomic goals are to achieve economic growth, price stability, which is inflation, full employment, balance of payment, fair income distribution, which is just the same thing I was talking about. The circular flow of income in national accounting. So this is it. All right. So you see that in the circular flow of income, you always have got the participants. So with the notes, I'm sure you started by looking at only two sectors. Only two sectors. Yeah. Then from the circular flow is where you got the different methods of measuring national income: value added method, income method, expenditure method, and the income methods. Now in detail, these approaches, this is where you measure the income, like you're measuring national income at the phase of distribution and appears as income paid or received by individuals. So those are some of the things that you look at. So when you are calculating using national income, GDP, you add all the rent that you received, wages, salaries from employees, the interest you get from capital, the profits of entrepreneurs, okay, and the incomes of those self-employed. When you just add all those incomes, the total is what is called the national income, okay, using GDP, of course, using the income method, the income approach. Okay, the expenditure method is this one that I was talking about. So with the expenditure method, we said we are concentrating on the expenditure by individuals and households. Okay, yeah, so the expenditure by individuals or households is what is called the consumption. Okay, that's it. So represented by C, it's consumption. Then the government consumption expenditure of goods and services is called G. That's our G, government expenditure. Then you also have the expenditure of productive enterprises on capital goods and inventories is denoted by I. So that's the expenditure by the companies. That's investment in short. The expenditure when you spend to buy maybe machines, you spend to invest in short. Expenditure by foreigners on goods and services exported to other countries is denoted by X. Okay, these are exports in short. Exports. It is expenditure by foreigners. We give them the goods, then they spend, right? They give us income, just from what I explained from the circular flow. And then you have got the
imports that you have to subtract here, represented by M. So this is the summary of GDP. The summary of GDP shall be given as GDP at market price shall be C, consumption, plus C, government expenditure plus investment, plus C, exports minus imports, which is same as NX, net exports. Okay, net exports simply means export minus imports. You got that?
Yes.
Okay. If you got that, then we are okay. Now, there are some problems that we all usually have when you are measuring national income. Okay. The problems that we get to have are the following. Number one, there is a problem of double counting. So with double counting, this is when it involves counting the value of an output more than once. And this problem would actually rise most of the times in the expenditure method, right? Yeah, where you also count the intermediary expenditure and the transfer the payments. Okay. So get to understand now that you don't count the intermediary goods as part of GDP when you're calculating the final value in the national income. You don't include the intermediary goods. You know the intermediary goods? Those goods that you can use for further production. Check that when you are calculating, we don't add you saw that there was what? There was wheat in the value added.
Yes.
Check. There was wheat. We had what else? We had flour. We just looked at the value of what? We looked at the value of the bread, which was the final good. We didn't, yeah, to the final good, we didn't add, not to the bread, you add bread plus flour, plus what else? Plus wheat itself. That is double counting now. You're double counting. So you just concentrate on the final value. This is what we're trying to mean. Then transfer payments. These are the money that you pay, and you're not expecting anything in return, right? You spend without expending or without expecting to receive something. Those are transfer payments. Yes. So they are not added in GDP, okay? In the national income. When you're using expenditure approach, you can't say no. You do not add those. The other problem we have is the problem of underground or black economy. Okay, so with the black or underground economy, this is actually is common in undeveloped in the most developing countries like Zambia. So this is where you have people who are not maybe registered by PACRA. There are many people who are operating, they're even making money, but those companies are not registered, right? Whatever money you make, as long as you're not registered, most of the times you don't even pay tax. So it's difficult for the government to get the final value or the true value, the total production in the country. Because there are some people that they think they don't produce, but they produce. Okay. We look at services. We look at people like baby marketeers who are not registered. They don't even sometimes pay taxing, but they are producing, they're making money. Understand, right? So that's a problem. The underground economy. Clear?
Yes, please.
Non-monetary transactions or non-marketed economy activities. So most of the times, the national income statistics will attempt to measure those activities where money changes hands. Okay. So they exclude some economic beneficial activities like those of households. The households. Okay. Yeah. Look at, I have not said the housewives. I have said the households. Because I want to include the other things. If I say housewives, I will limit. So it's households. Why should it be households? We're looking at things such as you produce, but you are not earning money for that. For example,
you find that you're at home, you don't employ a garden. You are also doing that work for a garden, but that won't be added in the GDP, right? At home, you're cooking for babe as a good housewife, not really housewife, as a good wife, not for a housewife. As a good wife, you're cooking, making good food. Then, as you are making good meals, you know that when those nice meals, husbands, children, people pay for that in restaurants, right? In the
Yes.
cafe, yeah, you can, that is, yeah. So you pay for them when you go to restaurant, but you find that that same work you're doing, that same quality, you spend some time maybe baking, right? Yeah, you bake. Mother makes bread, those days. So you make bread for us, for all of us, family bread, baked, all those things. But I know that if she had to get that bread and sell somewhere, that's production. But you find that those things are not included because she doesn't get paid for that. Okay? Yeah. So even whatever activity that you do, even washing, you're washing for someone, washing for a kid. Just think of it that if you were washing for someone else, you would have earned some. Okay, so that is not added. So all those things find that not added. So it has what it. Okay, you're following, right? Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Okay. So lack of information, you find that the statistics office usually lacks a lot of information when it comes to calculations of the national income. It's challenging because they can't manage to get all the. So usually that's what we call the GDP. It's just an approximation of what the total production is, which is happening. But usually for developing countries, especially, it's not a true reflection because you have got a lot of underground economies, you have a lot of things that happen. So even data cannot collect. You can't go to the market and ask them how much do you sell? Are you aware of how much you have made in a month? Are you aware of expenditure? People don't know of that. There is no data for that. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So those are some of the things that we look at. Do I have any questions?
No questions now for now.
So now, in the last 5 minutes,
Mhm.
let's look at one person to cement.
Okay. I need to speak to someone now. Just hold for a few minutes, please. Let me just mute myself. I have to speak to my boss.
Oh, okay.